Are you ready? If you're not down with that, we got 2 words for ya. What's up? I'm awesome. Hello, ladies. Hey, ladies. Hey, really? Really? Oh, yeah. Yes. Yowie, wowie. Like mom. Baby. It's true. Believe that.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, it's not like a guy girl thing. It's everybody. Everybody I want to listen to the 2 Words podcast. What's up, everybody? My name is John, and with me, as always, he is the real American, Matt Coker.
Wait, is that was Hulk Hogan's theme song, right? I was about to roll into Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, that was Hulk
Hogan.
Hogan.
Hold on, that
well, it was Hulk Hogan and Jack Swaggle.
It was Jack Swagger.
Jack Swagger was like his gimmick.
The moment has passed.
Okay, well, fine. What's up, everybody? We have a great show for you today because our 2 words are hot take. That's right. We are talking about our most controversial opinions in all of wrestling. And to be perfectly honest, I think we found out they're not all that controversial, but we're going to give them anyway.
There's a lot that we just don't say out loud.
Yeah.
But once we start saying them, everyone's like, yeah, that's not controversial at all. I totally agree.
So we're going to have fun with that. We're going to review this previous WrestleMania. But first, hey, yo, Matt, what's with all of Triple H's guys being gone from NXT?
Yeah, I mean, that started happening a while back. And
with the release of Tommaso Ciampa from NXT, he's not released, but with him being gone from NXT, there's none of Triple H's guys still in NXT.
Yeah. I mean, I was saying from the behind the scenes that started happening a while back too.
Yeah.
It's like he doesn't have anybody backstage or up front. The only person he has is, I think, Shawn Michaels still.
Yeah.
He's the only one still with the original
And I mean, that's
setup.
a good guy to have.
Yeah. But you're right. And I don't know what the deal is. And I don't know what comes next.
Because it seemed like for so long, he had all if you looked at all of these of Triple H's guys, so you have Killer Cross and Samoa Joe and Tommaso Ciampa and Austin Aries and Rhea Ripley, and it's they made NXT watchable.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not watchable now, but they're the ones that first came out and were like, we're gonna make this a good product.
Yeah.
Johnny Gargano, all of those guys. Where is Johnny Gargano? He got released, but I don't think he.
He didn't get released. He quit. He let his thing go out.
Well,
right?
Probably.
That's not the way I should phrase it. He didn't let his thing go out, but he let his contract.
Just let his thing out.
Just let his thing
and they
go
were
out.
like, you gotta go, man.
Leave, man.
You have to leave.
You can't
be doing that around
here. We're
here.
in the PG area.
But slowly but surely. We are children. Slowly but surely, all of them have steered away. So much so that it's not the black and gold brand anymore.
Yeah.
So much so they had to change the entire product just to keep it all together.
Right.
Because Braun Breaker doesn't work in the black and gold there.
Yeah, he doesn't.
He does not. So I think that's weird. But Tommaso Ciampa being, the days that he's being called up, which I think is weird because he was very adamant he was not leaving NXT.
I was about to say, he's the one that's like, I will quit.
I will retire. I will just stop wrestling altogether. But apparently, him along with Rhea Ripley are being considered for Edge's new stable.
I'm here for it, man.
And I love the fact that they are looking at the word stable. Mm-hmm. I am so ready. What do you think that's gonna like?
I don't know. I don't know that they'll know what to do with a good stable.
I don't know.
So I mean,
is it like Ministry of Darkness 2.0?
Dude, please.
I'll allow it. I'll even let them call it that.
Absolutely.
Like, bring Gangrel back like one time as like the godfather of the group, and he's just like the floating head.
No, but I do like what they're doing with it. I mean, on the one hand, like Bubba Ray Dudley or whatever he's going by now, Bully Ray, was interviewed and he's saying like WWE should stop trying to make Edge and Becky Lynch heels. People don't want to hate them, and you're making us, you're forcing us to hate them. And we don't want to. And like, I get that. I understand.
Yeah.
Especially with Edge and you know how he came back and his whole story from last year to suddenly him being this evil character. But it's been beautifully done. I can't say the same for Becky Lynch's character. I don't care. I really wish they had brought back the momentum from the man run, the basically female Stone Cold run that they were accomplishing successfully with Becky Lynch before she got pregnant, and to have her come back as this weird, whiny, anime-esque heel is very disappointing.
Yeah,
but Edge is working. And so,
Edge is working, and like, he's a bad guy, but we don't hate him. It's that whole attitude era we talked about last week.
Oh yeah,
like. He's a bad guy that we don't hate, that we love.
Right.
We love seeing him be a bad guy. So
yeah,
I don't know.
I agree. Corey Graves wants to face Pat McAfee at Survivor Series. Corey Graves, of course, being recently medically cleared again.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, a few months ago now. It might have been during our last break. But yeah, he was cleared to wrestle again, and so, I mean, two opposing announcers from opposite shows,
two heel announcers
at Survivor Series, where you take the two shows and match them up. I mean, that could be a fun match.
That could be fun. I could like that. I never got a chance to really see Corey Graves.
He didn't wrestle very long before he got injured in NXT, but like, from what I saw, assuming he's been able to keep up his routine, and of course from what we saw with Pat McAfee, I'm all for more Pat McAfee in the ring.
Yeah,
whenever he wants.
Yeah,
it was entertaining.
But it and I've said this before, but like, he's got to be with somebody that really knows like how to take care of him.
True.
You know, that's why they put him with Austin Theory. That's why they put him with Adam Cole. I think you could put him with I think Corey Graves would definitely take care of him. Yeah. That sort of thing.
And it's miles above Michael Cole versus Jerry the King Lawler.
Which Jerry Lawler is set to return this next week on Raw.
Oh,
he's
really?
set to return at commentary.
Really?
This upcoming week.
Who's he replacing?
I don't know.
Well,
I mean, I don't know why. I don't know why I say I don't know when I'm holding a computer. I'm holding the internet.
You're holding the entirety of the internet in your hands right now.
Jerry Lawler replacing. He will temporarily replace Corey Graves.
Oh, okay. So temporarily. Okay. Are they getting married? Isn't he getting married?
I don't know.
I think he's getting married. I think that's why. Pretty sure.
I know we're getting into some weird territory, but like, how do you marry the person that cheated on their wife with you? Like, how do you move into that situation? You know what I mean?
Happens all the time.
I know it does. I'm asking. I'm asking the people, as they. I don't think any of our listeners would know.
It's a good thing.
Because y'all have happy marriages. Because you listen to the Two Words podcast.
Together. On the couch. Cuddling.
Hey, yo, Paul Heyman still got it.
Oh, heck yes.
Like, did you see the video of him and they went off air and he started yelling at the crowd? Like, but he started yelling at one specific person.
No.
He grabbed a microphone and said, y'all want to see me get in the ring? And everybody, cheered, oh, yeah. And he goes, okay, but I'm not going to wrestle in front of that guy wearing the LSU shirt. And then, like, him and this guy started yelling at each other, and, like, Paul Heyman threw his jacket off and, like, ripped his tie off, and, the Usos, held him back, quote unquote. It was just like Paul Heyman still really got it. He really does. He
seems like one of the most interesting guys to like sit down and have dinner with,
Yeah.
in the whole company, because you're going to get a bunch of laughs and a bunch of good stories. You know what I mean? Hey, yo, Undertaker in his Hall of Fame speech mentioned how Paul Bearer was the devil because he kept sneaking cucumbers in Undertaker's water. And people are like, why is that that's not a great prank. That's a terrible prank, really, when you think about it.
Prank.
Well, Undertaker explained that when he was 8 years old, he ate a whole vat of pickled cucumbers. This, of course, resulted in Taker having an upset stomach, and as a result, he's never been able to stand anything with cucumbers in it. He said that he has yelled at quite a few like sushi chefs who have ignored his "please don't put any cucumbers in this" request. But yeah, that would be Paul Bearer's like favorite way to mess with Taker, was to sneak cucumbers into his food and drinks.
It's a very odd prank, but like I can see Paul Bearer like putting it in his water. Also, can we just call them pickles?
I don't
pickled cucumbers, like pickles, man. Pickles. That's all.
Maybe they're not there long enough. Like maybe they're just slightly pickled.
There's just
cucumbers.
sour cucumbers. Hey yo, how long are we going to hate New Elias?
I love New Elias. I love Ezekiel.
I guess more. How long is it going to take for us to start hating him?
Probably not long.
Probably not.
But see, like I've been reading like the response to him online. It's like he doesn't have a gimmick. He doesn't have he's just nobody. Now I'm like, no, his gimmick is everyone knows he's Elias, and he's saying he's not. Where is that going to go? I don't know, but I have to find out.
Have you never met a liar before? It's amazing. It is the best storytelling. Most movies nowadays are made about people lying. Like that.
I'm like, does he have amnesia? Is he being watched? Is he really Elias's younger brother? I need to know what the storyline is, and I have to find out by watching every single week.
I love that they played as my older brother or younger brother, whatever, because all I think about is the episode of Scrubs where the janitor tries to convince them that he has a brother.
It's a twin brother.
And he like jumps out of the window and puts on a fake mustache, and they're like, we know that it's you, janitor. And he's like, and then the best line in the episode is he goes, did somebody say keep rocking? And he like plays air guitar. That I hope that happens. Like there's a scene, there's like an episode where he like puts on the fake beard and like that's.
Yes,
we all know.
Absolutely. Oh, can
we
you
all
imagine
know
how funny that would be?
He's like putting on jeans and
dips out of the room, slaps on a fake beard. Hey, someone say keep rocking. Now,
are you ready to walk with Elias? Like I love, and I also love that they shaved his beard, they cut a little bit off of his hair, and they gave him the most generic looking ring wear. It is peach.
It is peach.
It is a peach colored ring wear.
Dips back around the door, comes back out as Ezekiel yells back there. Good to see you, brother.
Good to see you, brother.
Have a good trip. Oh, he's already gone.
You guys meet my brother.
Did you catch him? Did you catch him while he was here?
Oh man, I was missing that guy.
Glad he kept this interview going long. Went to the bathroom. Hey, yo, Lacey Evans rumored to be returning at SmackDown Friday.
Good.
Bayley, however, all set to go, nowhere to be. There were apparently 5 or more scrapped story ideas to get her involved in WrestleMania. And so she just sat that out. And currently I have no idea when she's going to pop back up.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff.
That's I mean, Lacey Evans was recovering from having a baby, right?
Yes, she had a baby.
Okay.
Like
Ric Flair's baby.
That Ric Flair baby storyline was accurate in all ways except Ric Flair. She went and had that baby. She back.
Mm-hmm. And Bayley got injured.
Yeah, Bayley got injured.
Yeah.
But she's recovered and cleared per what I've read so far. And
I don't know. The last incarnation of Bayley worked for about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But it just was not.
I want her to come back as her original version. I don't care if it was getting old or whatever. It was nice. It was a nice pop of fresh air.
Yeah.
And it was fun. Of course, Lacey Evans one of my hands down favorite female characters. I mean, she's a great wrestler too, but that character was just a hit right away. And I've been bummed that she's been gone this long.
I remember because she was at that NXT show I went to in Florida, house show, and she was just like, I had never seen her before, and she's just like walking around, and people are just being as hateful, like they are just yelling, and I'm like, who is this woman?
And why do we all hate her?
Why do we all collectively hate her? Finish this out.
Okay, I got two more.
I got nothing.
Hey, yo, Seth Rollins talked about why WrestleMania 35 was the worst for more reasons than keeping TV watchers and lethargic live crowds up 7 hours. This was the 7-hour one, the last one night WrestleMania.
Okay.
He said that the last match didn't even start until well after midnight where they were.
Okay.
Which meant all the subways closed.
Oh.
And so when everybody left, they were all jockeying for late night buses and taxis and Ubers and stuff. Yeah. Imagine 70,000+ people all leaving the arena trying to get a taxi and an Uber. People most of those people did not go to sleep that night. They just started their next day. They went to work on Monday.
Went home.
And he's also hoping that the success of the 2-night Manias and seeing how a shorter show can be beneficial is going to convince WWE to shorten Monday Night Raw back down to 2 hours. Because he, like most of us, says 3 hours is just obnoxiously long, and there's just not enough quality stuff to fill in that time.
It's obnoxiously long if you're putting the same stuff on every hour.
Mm-hmm. There's always just, like, here's a recap of the first 20 minutes of Raw. And I'm like, yeah,
let's just show the first 20 minutes of Raw. That's what they do, is they show 20 minutes after the first 20 minutes. Honestly, and we'll talk about this in a minute, but the 2-night Mania, this was the best of the 3 so far.
Of course it was. Yeah, definitely.
This worked the best of those 3, which granted the first one was
COVID.
Was Pandemic Mania, and it was awful.
Was training center. What was it called?
Yeah, the Performance Center.
Performance Center, yeah.
Yeah.
And lastly, Heyo, just days after he and MSK tag team partner Wes Lee.
Oh, we're talking about this. Okay, cool.
Regained the NXT Tag Team Championships at Stand and Deliver. Nash Carter has been given his WWE release after his wife and fellow wrestler Kimber Lee took to Twitter to post 2 photos showcasing injuries she allegedly got from Nash on Monday, April 4th, writing, "This is the face of your tag team champ, Nash Carter. This is my face after your tag team champ, Nash Carter, got wasted and hit me so hard it split my lip open." She tagged WWE NXT in this. Said that she's put up with it for over a year and can't hide it anymore.
Good for her.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. Good for her. And heartbreaking.
Yeah.
That this stuff happens. I mean, it's a reality of life. You can't be surprised when stuff like this happens, but
yeah,
it is.
Well, it's heartbreaking because like there was another guy in that tag team.
Oh yeah,
and he's pretty good.
What's he gonna do now? Yeah, he's not responsible for anything.
Well, that's not the reason it's heartbreaking. It's multiple reasons.
Multiple reasons. It's a sucky situation.
Yeah, because those scars are like a year old.
The fact that she put up with it for over a year.
Yeah.
Which I think is. I think it's almost, and I mean, we don't have to get too deep into this, but just from a spiritual standpoint,
let's do it.
I feel like it's almost baked into women these days that they're almost expected to try and tough those situations out, and make excuses for their, especially if they're married, and those are like some of the only instances where even every Christian in the world would say, "Get the heck out of there right now."
Oh, yeah. Like,
there's no sanctity in a marriage where you're being beaten up.
Here's the thing. You are not... if I sign a contract with somebody and then I break that contract, like, I'm not held liable for the rest of the duration of the contract. Mm-hmm. In a marriage, if you break that covenant, like, if you mess this covenant up, like, you're not... The other person's not expected to stick around. and I wasn't going to talk about this, but since we mentioned it, when we asked, because we took to Facebook and asked people what their controversial wrestling opinions were.
Yeah.
And one person made a comment that Ric Flair should have been released after the airplane incident.
Right.
And I did not engage with this post because I did not have the ability to, like, when you type stuff out, you always sound like you're siding with, like, rapists somehow. And
everyone reads your tone as if Hitler was writing it.
Exactly. Or as if at least it's like that I'm agreeing with him. And so, but I really thought, like, yeah, but had that woman come forth like 30 years ago when it happened? Like, right. And I understand that maybe nothing would have been done, but like, as men, who are trying to do better, like we want to stand with women, but Kimberly is did an amazing thing by just saying that it happened and coming forward and being like, hey.
And I'm not sure at the time back then, the culture would have been open to accepting that, like,
and that's and I understand. I do understand that.
It was such a different time, even just pre like the Me Too movement. It was such a different time in this country. Yeah, and that's only a few years ago. Yeah. So good on her for standing up and saying something. Bummer that this had to happen to his partner, but I think this is so far the right move to make. Okay, that was rough to talk.
All right, well, that's all of our new first segment. Hey yo! When we come back, we're going to be talking about WrestleMania, so keep it here. And welcome back to the Two Words Podcast. Well, we just wrapped up WrestleMania season. We just came to the end of the road to WrestleMania, and now we are on the path to SummerSlam, I guess.
Yeah.
Something to that effect. It's a less flashy path, but it's good. But WrestleMania, I think one of the better WrestleManias I remember over the last few years.
In a long time, yeah.
And we fought it for several reasons. I think, we mentioned like the 2-night thing. I was very surprised I didn't hate the 2 nights thing.
Yeah. It's definitely grown on me in the last couple times.
Yeah, but let's just kind of go through some hits, some misses, what we liked, what we didn't like. The Raw Tag Team Championship, RKO retains over the Street Profits and Alpha Academy. I didn't really see that.
It was very... it wasn't a super long match, but it was very entertaining. Yeah. They all worked very well. There's a couple really impressive spots, not the least being the final one with a flying RKO put down by Matt Riddle on not Montez Ford, but the other one.
D'Angelo Hawkins.
Oh, no, it was Montez Ford. I'm sorry. It was Montez Ford. Anyway, very impressive, almost scary.
Angelo Dawkins.
Yeah.
Not D'Angelo Hawkins. Sorry.
D'Angelo Hawkins.
D'Angelo Hawkins.
That's now his name forever. But that was really fun. I enjoyed it, and I think the right team won, even though we didn't expect that. I think both of us picked a different team to win.
We did. We both picked a different team. And we've been ragging on the tag team division, but I think maybe it's time to give it another look.
No, absolutely. Now that the Street Profits are back, like Street Profits felt like the top of the tag team division. Alpha Academy feels like it's just now ramping up to being a name worthy of being in the conversation. Yeah. I didn't hate them in the match last night. I've hated everything that they've done so far, aside from some of the comedy bits that they've done with RK Bro. But as for wrestling, they kind of shone pretty good in that match, so I enjoyed it.
Lashley versus Almost was Lashley versus Almost. I don't really know.
It was fine. Did you see Raw? Did you see the fallout?
I watched. Yeah.
Okay. I cared much more about the fallout from.
Yeah, it was weird though. Like, I don't know.
Well, it's like they were.
Why does everybody got to turn on somebody?
Right.
Like,
they turned Bobby Lashley face, and they were already doing that. You could tell even when he was coming out, he was smiling, fist bumping the fans, and all this kind of stuff. He was like playing along with his music,
Bobby Lashley.
Bum, 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 like he was having a good old time. And then, so MVP now almost as manager. So I enjoyed that. I come from that mindset, I guess, of liking those more than you, maybe, because it seemed like every other week that was happening when we were living the Attitude Era, live. And so, I'm so used to that happening on a regular basis from when I was a kid that having it happen at all nowadays is just it's a treat.
Knoxville versus Sami Zayn.
I think it was fun.
It was fun. It was exactly what we thought it was going to be.
It was messy and botchy, and the thing that apparently kept Sami Zayn just glued to the mat hit Johnny Knoxville on the shoulder on the way up, and he didn't even flinch. But Sami Zayn couldn't move, so that took us out of the believability of this giant mousetrap idea. But aside from that, forgiving that, it was really fun having all those personalities from the Jack Donkey movies.
Jack Bottom.
It was fun.
Yeah, no, I mean, and they really did a good job incorporating it. That was produced by Shane Helmsley.
I can believe that.
Yeah, he did a good job with that.
You mean Shane Helms?
Shane Helms.
Yeah.
Not Shane
You're
Helms.
not having a good
name
with
day.
names.
Whatever. Women's Tag Team Championship. These are all night 2, by the way.
Were they?
Yeah, I have to go find night 1.
This one wasn't.
You peed during this match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. This wasn't bad. I don't remember it being
like
bad.
he went to the bathroom and
that's
peed.
right. That's because
And then
I just anger peed right here in the studio. That this match was
peed right on the carpet. No, it was good. When you left, we were kind of still talking on the Discord, and they're not doing anything with Liv Morgan, which is going to amplify when they don't do anything, when they take Rhea Ripley and put her in Edge's stable.
Right. Didn't they just form this tag team?
I mean, all these tag teams were really just formed. Shayna Baszler and Natalya have both been with a different tag team partner every week for the last year. It seems that way.
Yeah.
Carmella and Zelina, Carmella's wearing that weird Man in the Iron mask thing, and
well, she's gonna be gone. She's getting married. She's gonna be gone for a little while.
Yeah.
And Queen Zelina now has to get back in the main picture, which I don't know if she will get anywhere near a title.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they've been doing that, back in the early days. The King of the Ring thing was like a path to becoming the champion. Yeah. But in the last since they brought it back, I guess, from it being canceled, it used to be its own pay-per-view and everything. Yeah. Since they brought it back and brought in the Queen of the Ring tournament as well, it seems like another Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal.
Yeah, it seems like a thing just to say.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, well, I have a thing. It's not really a championship, but it's a thing. A gimmick I can carry now for the next few years.
Which the Andre the Giant Battle Memorial Royale, it's not even pay-per-view worthy.
It wasn't even on the pre-show this year.
It's barely TV worthy anymore.
Now it was on SmackDown.
Whatever. AJ versus Edge. This was a good match.
Oh, yeah.
This was a good match. And we knew it was going to be a good match. The spots were really good. The entrances were really good.
So good.
I mean, AJ Styles hit his, because I found a video and I sent it to you, Matt, of AJ Styles hitting his face on the thing.
We're like, what could have happened to him?
And he's just bleeding, and there's more and more blood, and he's just holding his composure very, very, very well.
Pat McAfee was being told over and over again, when you go out there, the thing's shaped like a star, so go to the middle. Like, okay, yeah, I'm not an idiot. Well, AJ Styles just hit his face, and he's bleeding right now on TV.
Styles hit his face.
Oh, okay. And so he got told 3 more times. Like, oh, thanks for telling me. You saved my life.
Yeah. I was going to look really stupid.
You gotta believe he was so mad at himself walking down the ring, covered in the blood running down his face.
But here's the thing: is it also takes you out of the moment for a little bit. I'm sure, and I'm like, okay, cool. I've snapped out of whatever I'm in, and I'm just gonna enjoy this. The rising chair for Edge.
Oh, it was beautiful.
All of the spots were good. All of the top rope stuff, all of the out of the ring stuff, all the in ring stuff, the Damian Priest stuff at the end. Even it wasn't too much. This was a very, very well put together.
It was very solid. One of the best matches of the whole event.
Yeah, that was fantastic. New Day versus Ridge Holland. I don't even remember watching.
Might as well not have happened. Lasted, I think, 90 seconds. It was cool that they came out, though, in Big E singlets.
That was very cool.
And Xavier even did the whole Big E taking the singlet straps down, you know, buff up move.
They definitely proved that they cannot pull off the singlets, though.
Right. Right.
It's like, you guys didn't look
right.
Funny.
Didn't look right.
McAfee versus Austin Theory. I thought the spots in all of this was a roller coaster.
It was emotionally.
It was an emotional
The Austin Theory Pat McAfee thing was fun.
It was great.
It was fun. It was about as good, I think, as we expected it to be, and that was pretty decent. Then McMahon, this is so freaking funny to me. You know, months ago, we were talking about the rumors that Stone Cold and Kevin Owens are going to have a match at WrestleMania. Vince McMahon and Pat McAfee are going to have a match at WrestleMania. And then those rumors changed to now that they're going to have a KO show and they might get slightly physical. And no, it's going to be Austin Theory, McMahon's protege, versus Pat McAfee. And so they swerved us. Those rumors were true, and they made us think that, those got canceled. And we got both of those things.
But they better not drop this whole Austin Theory McMahon protege thing.
No, it's been fun.
They better not drop that. It's just, we were talking. Some friends of ours we were talking last night at church, and somebody said was protesting against wrestling because they didn't understand it, and they were like, "It's all scripted, it's all fake." And our friend Brandon Boydston was like, "I just saw Pat McAfee do a backflip off of the top rope. That was not fake."
So are all those Avengers movies you watch?
Yeah.
What's the difference?
So all those Hallmark movies, Megan. Like,
so we're calling her out now. We
They're
saying names.
They're not. They're not really in love.
Take that. They don't really run competing bookstores. Okay?
Now, what I the missed stun was rough.
Who would have thought we could have ever topped Vince McMahon's worst stunner from back in the late 90s with what happened at WrestleMania? It was like a 3-attempter. Like he bounced off the rope twice before they finally grabbed his neck. But Pat McAfee made up for it.
Pat McAfee
with a
did make up
fantastic sell
by getting stunned and then drinking the beer on top of it. That was
right. He was lying on the ground.
Really
That's
great.
right. But yeah, Stone Cold having the friggin' time of his life. I've never seen that man smile so big. You know, hardly ever see him smile at all, quite frankly.
Yeah.
But he was like a kid in a candy store.
Just having fun with it.
That was so good.
And the end of night 2 was winner take all championship unification, Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. And I gotta be honest with you, this felt like the end of Avengers Infinity Wars.
Yeah.
Where you built up to this amazing end and you're like, and it's like, okay.
It wasn't supposed to be that way. I don't know if you saw, did you see the pictures? Early on in the match, Roman Reigns actually suffered from a dislocated shoulder. Okay. And there were some pretty gruesome looking photos on it. And so there was a moment where they basically discussed in the ring, we're going to have to make this shorter. And so it wasn't as bombastic after that moment. And it ended roughly 10 minutes earlier than it was supposed to. Yeah. So unfortunately, it was an injury that caused this. Which is a bummer because I think it would have been one of the matches of the night for sure, but it wound up just kind of being a meh.
Yeah. And then traveling back in time to night 1, Drew McIntyre versus Happy Corbin. How did he cut the ropes? How did he cut the ropes?
How did it happen?
How did he cut the ropes? Tell me. They're steel cable.
Right. How could they have rigged it to where it would cut like that?
Yeah.
Because he would, number one, if they were already pre-cut, he would have had to have hit the exact right point. If they were like magnetized or something, you wouldn't have been able to throw each other into the ropes.
Yeah.
Because the body force should be enough to break that, or at least like buckle it in a weird way.
Yeah.
I just don't understand. highly impressive.
There have been a lot of people who are online who are talking trash about Madcap Moss. And they're like, "Oh, what's this guy's gimmick? He doesn't have a gimmick. Oh, it's just he comes out and tells dumb jokes and It's like, do you know what madcap means? Is that lost on you? What did you think that guy was going to be doing? The guy's name is Madcap Moss. Of course he's going to come out and tell stupid jokes.
I actually like Madcap Moss more than Happy Corbin.
Well, I like Happy Corbin's wrestling.
Sure.
So that's
character wise.
But it wasn't bad. The Usos versus Shinsuke and Rick Boogs.
That was the first match. So the first match and the last match plagued by injuries. Boogs hurt his knee in the middle of the match pretty badly. And so that pretty much ended that match. But it wasn't a bad match. Wasn't necessarily a memorable one, but it was an okay one to start off the show.
The Miz and Logan Paul.
Surprisingly good.
Versus the Mysterios. Sorry.
Yeah. Surprisingly
That was good. It was a good spot.
Logan Paul was pretty darn impressive.
Logan Paul did a good job in the ring. The Mysterios did a good job making everybody look good. And, the Miz did what the Miz does. And that's, work his tail off.
And I think I read that Pokemon card he wore around his neck is worth like $1.7 million.
I think he won the Guinness Book of World Records for most expensive Pokemon card.
It might be flipped. It might be $7.1 million. Now that I think about it,
Something
it was a
ridiculous.
A ridiculous amount.
And I don't understand it because I never got into Pokemon.
Me neither.
Not once.
Yeah.
No, and then the Miz skull crushing finale to Logan Paul. He set up something in the future. Maybe I think this was a major win. This was a major win in last year with the celebrity match. We've talked about this before, but we just trashed it. And I was much more open this time.
Yeah, trash it going in.
That helped.
We weren't mean when it was happening.
Yeah,
we were mean as it was setting up. But once we started seeing what he was doing, we're like, okay, you know what? Yeah. That's not terrible.
This match, I think we both went into it a little more optimistic.
Yeah, and with good reason. We were proven, or we it was fruitful.
Yeah,
going in with a good attitude because I think it was good, and I wouldn't mind seeing him again.
Yeah, it was good. Seth Rollins versus his mystery opponent, which turned out to be the returning Cody Rhodes.
Not only returning, but returning as his actual character. Same music, same gimmick, same clothes. It was just fabulous. Fabulous.
I gotta be honest. We knew that Cody Rhodes was returning.
Right.
We knew that he was returning at that match. We knew that when Seth Rollins' music ended and they were waiting for his mystery opponent, we knew that Cody Rhodes' music was going to hit. Now, we weren't really sure if it was going to be Smoke and Mirrors or if it was going to be his new American Nightmare one from New Japan and then subsequently AEW. But it was still a huge moment.
Yeah.
It was still I still got goosebumps despite the fact that I knew it had happened. Mm-hmm. It's like watching the end of your favorite movie and it's like, I know how this is going to end, but I still love it so much.
It's like that, the end or towards the end of Endgame when the, on your left, the thing where that pops up. You know what's coming. You know you're going to see all the heroes, but you're still going to get goosebumps. Yeah. It was so good.
And then the match was amazing.
Yeah, the ramp, the fact that they brought that. I guess this is just the new thing now. If you're gonna rise up out of the ground, they have to wheel out that weird one-story ramp thing. But anyway, the fact that they did
it again on Raw.
Yeah, but the fact that they did that still made that a part of his entrance, and that it was the character that he built. They didn't change it, and that they came out and just had a banger of a match.
Yeah.
So dang, and one of the other matches of the event for sure.
Yeah.
Loved it. Loved his monologue on Raw as well.
I really did too, where he trashed Stardust.
Yeah. which also was 100% him. It was not scripted at all by the WWE.
It's good.
So beautiful stuff.
So I mean, like, does Cody Rhodes win the title from Roman Reigns?
I don't know.
I mean, do we have that? Do we have?
I would rather see that story build up than the rumored Rock versus Roman story build up.
I don't mind seeing Rock versus Roman. I just don't want to see it for the title. I want Cody Rhodes to take it off of him at like SummerSlam.
Sure.
And then Cody goes in against like The Miz to main event WrestleMania. I think they could really, or just another Seth Rollins match. Do the exact same match over again,
But for the title?
but for the title. Like
I love it.
spot for spot, you could make this, and I don't care. Raw Women's Championship match, which was one of 2 Women's Championship matches on night 1. I felt it weird that they didn't split them up.
I mean, you kind of had to because technically both of the men's were on night 2.
I guess. Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair. And I really didn't think they were going to put the title back on Bianca Belair.
I didn't as well. I'm surprised by that, but I think it was the right choice.
A good match. I think I think you hit the nail on the head. Like this weird Becky Lynch thing they're doing.
And her attire was just distracting. Her weird makeup and hair and attire, the pointy, boots and all this kind of
It
stuff.
made her look unhappy.
Yeah, it doesn't look great. It made us appear unhappy.
It made us because we were unhappy.
Bring back the
But
man.
I thought the match was okay. I
it wasn't
loved.
bad.
Somebody put a picture of Bianca Belair winning the title at last year's WrestleMania versus the picture of her winning at this year's WrestleMania, and like the confidence that she has built in over a year, in just a year, is like, oh yeah, I know that I'm the future of this division.
She really got kicked in the eye too, by the way.
Did she? I mean,
She had a nice shiner on Raw.
we talk about how unsafe some of these men are. These women are just. They are rough towards each other sometimes.
Kick to the face.
And then next on was the SmackDown Women's Championship. Charlotte Flair. I messed that name up. I didn't even start saying it. Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey. I'm ready to give Ronda Rousey a chance.
I think this was good. I also think this was a good way to kind of protect Ronda Rousey without putting the title on her, given the fact that she got Charlotte to tap, but the ref was down at the moment, and Charlotte Flair took over that, took advantage of that and won. I think it was really, really well put together.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to more of that. And Charlotte Flair actually came up recently and said the reason why I don't want to be a face is because when I'm a face, when I'm a good guy, I come off as entitled. And I'm like, if I'm going to come off as entitled, at least make me the bad guy.
Yeah. I mean, it worked for her dad.
Yep.
For so long.
So I think this was all good.
And then the night closed out with the Kevin Owens show.
Oh, man.
And I expected a stunner or two.
Yeah.
But I did not expect a match. And I surely did not expect the match that we got.
Right. Even when the match was starting, we're like, okay, well, at least we got a guy that can protect him from getting too hurt. And like, nope, they're flat out.
Somebody needs to be protecting Kevin Owens.
Suplexing each other on the concrete. What's happening?
He walked out and was like, he looks really good.
He does.
For 57. Well, not for 57. He just looks good. He still looks like Stone Cold. He still walks like Stone Cold. He still talks like Stone Cold. Is this the last? Is that it?
I don't know. I think in a spiritual sense, having his last match in Dallas, Texas, where he had his first match, is a fantastic way to end. And because it was so well done, let's not mess with perfection.
Let's not do it. Yeah.
But I don't know. Mention the smile that he had on his face, the genuine ear to ear freaking grin, and how much he enjoyed it. I'm willing to bet he has a little bit of the Undertaker bug in him. Like, oh man, but I should be done. But that feeling.
Yeah. Well, that was it for the WrestleMania card. It was a good WrestleMania. We look forward to SummerSlam coming up. Hopefully, the next few pay-per-views Money in the Bank's always been a lackluster event for the last few years and that sort of stuff. So hopefully
let's be optimistic. Maybe this is the year of
hopefully there's
glory.
a tide that is a tide of change happening, and it's going to be good. Well, when we come back, we are giving our hot takes, so don't miss it. Stay here. And welcome back to the Two Words Podcast, where our 2 words today are hot take, because we're talking about our controversial thoughts, our less popular ideas. And all of this started when a TikTok user by the name of Wheezy Blonde, who is a small blonde girl who doesn't... She never wheezes, though. I've noticed in all of her videos. She made some comments about... She said she didn't like Shawn Michaels, and people just lost their minds on her.
I would have too.
And she's like, listen, I get it, he's great, but I'm just not, a big fan. And then she asked the TikTok world. As a 31-year-old, I feel weird talking about TikTok. We were talking about it before the show. It's like we slept on it, but it's here.
I'm closer to my 40s and my 30s. So
yeah,
I'm still talking about it.
But that kind of just got me thinking. Like, what are some controversial ideas? And before we talk about our own, we did go to Facebook and asked our Facebook friends, our listeners out there, the 2 words verse, if you will,
and the overall LTN community. What is your controversial wrestling opinion? Our friend Mike Thompson said, I don't necessarily dislike him, but I don't understand Orange Cassidy. He just doesn't get how laid back Orange Cassidy is, and get out of here.
But I get it to a certain extent, because that's definitely not for everybody. That's why he never got signed to WWE.
He doesn't fit in your mold, Mike. Jeez. He's counterculture. Okay, he's laid back and yet still kicks butt.
Our friend in the LTN community, Matthew Lindbald, said 75% of the WWE roster is a bore. I can't argue with that. I don't know that that's necessarily untrue. When I asked him to comment, he did not comment. So, Matthew, if you'd like to get back at me, I'm willing to listen.
But I can't. I mean, I say that at first. I'm like, no. I mean, most of the stuff I see is good, but then I think about how big the roster actually is, and how many of them aren't even on Raw or SmackDown on a regular basis. Like, there's so many people that only exist on Saturday Slam or Sunday Stunner, or I don't know if they're still doing Velocity or whatever, all those other garbage shows that are just there for... why do they exist? I don't understand why they exist. Why does Main Event and all these other things... Nobody's watching them. Why are they there? Where do you even watch them? What channel are they even on? I have no idea.
I think you have to have Hulu Premium and then a special VPN.
Who likes wrestling that much that they're like, I'm going to watch all the C team wrestle with no storyline for an entire hour?
Our friend Corey Shibler. Sorry if I pronounce your last names wrong. I'm not even good at pronouncing names I do know.
D'Angelo Hawkins.
D'Angelo Hawkins. Corey gave a whole bunch of opinions, none of which I actually found to be that controversial. But one thing he did say was that Jim Cornette is right about a good chunk of what he says about AEW. Most people want to sleep on Jim Cornette. You know what? Guy's smart.
He gets ahead of himself sometimes, but most of the time he's not wrong. He might be saying things that hurts my feelings, but he's not necessarily wrong.
John Whaley? Is it John Whaley?
Whaley,
John Whaley. He posted a meme that brings about the concept that most people really hate that AEW is using a bunch of old guys when night 1 of WrestleMania was main evented by a 57-year-old.
While I understand that, he ain't main eventing every week.
That's true.
This was a once in a 19-year thing so far.
And then some of you liked to joke. And
Some of y'all play around
some of
too
y'all like to
much.
play games, saying things like John Cena is fully visible. First, I have a couple questions. First of all, how dare you?
Are you sure about that?
Why would you say something like that? It's called suspension of disbelief. Get it. One very, I think it's controversial idea that I found floating around on the interwebs is that the Attitude Era was not as good as the Ruthless Aggression Era in terms of wrestling.
Well,
And I can't say that's not reasonable.
yeah, because I think that's almost by design. Because really, in the Attitude Era, they specifically scaled back the wrestling, amped up the storytelling, amped up
You got joke.
the controversy and stuff. Controversial. The controversy and stuff. And the matches, the biggest matches that they had were all, no holds barred. So it was just all about who could take the most chair shots. It wasn't really wrestling. And so, like, you think back all the most iconic, Attitude Era matches, they were all things like Mick Foley getting thrown off the Hell in the Cell. I mean, they're all things that were just bombastic and not necessarily technical wrestling or good wrestling.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's very rare that we have, like, no holds barred matches.
Yeah.
And they focus
And especially
more on
not
wrestling.
as good as
And
they
even-
used to be.
Yeah, and even during Ruthless Aggression, it was about the same. And so, I mean, technically, yeah. If we're talking about the wrestling, yeah, there's no way around that.
Now, I have a few opinions of my own, and I don't know if they're really controversial. I don't know if people don't like them, but I hate saying them.
I definitely am not prepared for the discussions.
I'm not a fan, but one thing I have to say is AEW is not that different from WWE. You just haven't learned to hate it yet. You just haven't learned to hate it. It's only been 2 years.
No,
Give it time.
I think people are getting there.
People
I
are
think-
getting there.
Yeah, I think I think it's because they've fallen into the same kind of trap.
That different.
Tony Khan's fallen into the same trap that Vince McMahon fell into. In let's just make my word the final say on everything.
Yeah.
And the reason AEW was successful at the beginning was because they were writing it. Like, they were writing the storylines. They knew what they could do, how they could act, where the storyline should go, and they were entertaining in that manner. And once that kind of went by the wayside and you had your own team behind the scenes and not really asking the wrestlers how they want to do it. Now, I understand there's a fine line with that. WCW went far too in the opposite direction, giving a few wrestlers complete carte blanche with what their storyline was, which is why, Hulk Hogan had the title so many times instead of putting over other wrestlers. But it wasn't broken yet. And you fixed it when it wasn't broken yet, and now it's becoming a little bit more on the generic side, a little bit more on the underwhelming side.
And honestly, to me, it's a lot of spot wrestling.
Yeah,
I mean, that's really what it is. They're just looking for spots, and that only lasts so long.
yeah.
What about you? You got any thoughts? Anything I'd hate?
John Cena is a very entertaining wrestler, and I loved him all the time he was on TV. And I actually can't wait to see if he comes back again. People hate John Cena.
Yeah, time has made my heart grow fonder for John Cena.
That's good. But I loved him even when he was here. I
Yeah.
never experienced a time where I wish John Cena wasn't involved in this match. Not once.
Yeah, there's a lot of times I look back and I wish that I had given more love to John Cena. Yeah. But there was a little oversaturation.
I mean,
there.
yeah, he was oversaturated, and I understand that the same way Roman Reigns was. And I did not feel the same way about Roman Reigns. I definitely got sick of Roman Reigns a good while, but that just never happened with John Cena for me, and I don't really know why. I've always liked his character, whether he was the weird, inappropriate rapping thug life. Thugonomics, Doctor of Thugonomics, or the family friendly, face of the company, the Fruity Pebbles.
Yeah,
John Cena.
we have to get over our hate for John Cena. Now Shawn Michaels is my favorite.
Yes, mine too.
I mean, we've talked about it.
Yes,
But
The
DX
best.
but DX got better when he left.
I agree.
The version without Shawn Michaels is better than the version with him. Now,
From night one.
Yeah. Last Stand DX, I'm putting in a totally different category.
Yeah.
Last Stand DX and other DX is not the same thing. So,
Right.
so whatever. But when Shawn Michaels left and had to leave DX, and that worked so well for everybody in that faction.
It was good.
Shawn,
back.
it's weird to think like Shawn Michaels brought that group down.
Right. Bringing in X-Pac, bringing in the New Age Outlaws. It was that 5 team for a while for the longest run. It was beautiful. And,
It was very
and they went in a much better direction than the Shawn Michaels DX was taking it. They were just all about being, and I mean, they had good moments, but they were just all about being offensive to, Sergeant Slaughter and whatever. You know, they didn't really take it to the next level. That DX did. The invasion thing on the tank, all the different hijinks, and even becoming kind of a face faction against the Authority. An anti-hero faction for a while. That was really fun. And then becoming the super heel faction with the McMahon Helmsley era. That's when it started to dwindle, I think. But it was still fun.
Yeah.
Still fun to see it.
We slept on 3MB.
Yeah.
We slept on 3MB, and it could have been so. We did not respect we did not give 3MB the respect that it deserves, and that is obvious right now.
Oh,
because I will tell you, those are 3 guys that I could watch on every single episode of Raw right now.
also, I really miss Heath Slater.
Oh, miss him so much.
Man, I don't care.
I mean, not enough to watch Impact, but I miss him.
I miss WWE Heath Slater. Okay, NXT was better as a reality show than it is right now.
Okay, I'm calling bull plop on that one.
No, that first season of NXT with Daniel Bryan and Barrett and all those guys, I enjoyed it a heck of a lot.
Maybe the first season, but I mean,
I didn't watch it after the first season. But the first season NXT was better as a reality show.
I guess when
first season of NXT 2.0.
Yeah.
So far.
Well,
I'm not saying it's better than the black and gold brand.
That's
but
I
the current
guess,
rainbow splatter brand.
I guess it's fair.
Pretty garbage.
I'm just glad we didn't do another season of Tough Enough.
Well, how many were there? There were like 4 or 5 seasons, weren't there?
There were 4 or 5 seasons, and you cannot name one person.
Maven. That's the only one I can name.
Gosh,
Maven.
I forgot Maven. I was going to say Velveteen Dream. Velveteen Dream didn't win, though.
Oh, I forgot he was even in that.
Yeah.
No, I remember Maven.
Nobody from the season that Velveteen Dream was on has actually made it anywhere in the WWE. There's nobody that won that season.
I only remember Maven because he threw out the Undertaker in the Royal Rumble.
Oh yeah.
That first year he was on the roster. That's the only thing he's known for.
Yep, that was a thing. I've got one. I don't want to say it on air though. It's just disrespectful, and
I'm looking at it and I'm just like, no, I can't say this.
Yeah, honestly, because here's the thing: it's about a particular wrestler, and if I ever meet this wrestler in real life, I don't want to run the risk of him ever hearing. I don't want to be like, oh yeah, this guy thinks you're a joke. So I'm deleting it, and it's deleted forever. It's too controversial even for me. I think my most controversial opinion, and I have actually gotten some hate for this. The finger poke of doom was not the death of WCW, and might have been the last smart thing that company ever did. Because.
Present your case.
Okay. So you have to look at the product as a whole at that moment. You have to look at that month of wrestling. So first of all, everybody wants to say that the finger poke of doom made people mad when they saw it. But they also say that everybody turned their TVs off when Tony Schiavone said that Mick Foley was going to win the WWE champion or WWF championship. So it can't be both. Not everybody can't have turned it off and saw it at the same time. It's not a possibility. So that argument is already out the window. 2. This all arose because Kevin Nash won the title off of Goldberg.
Right.
And people say that that was a bad idea. But they started this streak for Goldberg that, was 400 and, or whatever. But they didn't know where they were going to end it. They had no intentions of ending it. And you don't start a streak and make note of a streak without at some point saying, we're going to leverage their first loss into a major story. And everything was kind of going downhill up until that point. It had started its decline. They had to do something. And so, Kevin Nash beating Goldberg, that's amazing.
No.
That's hot TV. And the finger poke of doom reunified the NWO, which it needed to do. It could not do that. I'm not saying that it was a great thing, but the bottom line is you had to get that group back together one way or another. And it wasn't because they were causing the fact that you had NWO Hollywood NWO and NWO Wolfpack, and it was just everybody on the roster.
Pretty much, yeah.
You had bloated
the rest of
this thing up.
WCW was just an afterthought, except
Yeah,
for
you
Sting.
had bloated this thing.
Oh no, Sting was in Wolfpack at the time. All right.
You forget that Sting actually did join Wolfpack. And it's just like, guys, we gotta consolidate. We gotta go somewhere. We've ruined this thing. So yeah, I think that the finger poke of doom was good TV.
So I'm gonna give you my thoughts on this based upon the fact that I heard you say this already. When you did that TikTok, because that was your TikTok response.
Yes.
And since then, I have
only TikTok I've ever actually.
Since then, I've watched the episode of Monday Night War again that focused around those two things. And I kind of think you're right. Because the way they present it, they really present it as this was the day that things turned. But then they sneak in the fact that it would be several more weeks before WWE overtook WCW in ratings. Yeah. I think, okay.
It was almost another year and a half before the company went under.
Right. This really wasn't the end. I think that eventually the storyline that they were trying to build from that just didn't go where they wanted it to go, or just wasn't as popular.
Yeah.
But that moment in and of itself and that night in and of itself was not the deciding factor. I think it was just a decline in interest in the storyline and a raise in interest in the storylines in WWE happening at the same time several weeks later.
They had to do something, and it was a Hail Mary, but
yeah. So I will give you and secede that you are probably correct.
I appreciate that.
Unfortunately, history is written by the winners. And so, according to WWE, that is the downfall of WCW. My last one, we kind of already slightly touched on, but it's just that I feel like Attitude Era was a bit overrated. And look, I feel bad saying that.
He just cringed. He just like hid down. He hid from all of you who aren't even here.
I said the same thing about DC Talk once. Just like DC Talk.
Oh my gosh,
DC Talk really only had one good album, in my opinion.
And there's only like 2 good songs on that album.
No. That album, that's a front to backer. That's a full listen. But it is largely remembered for the high points. And there were so many low points, like at least 50% to 75% of every Monday Night Raw is now anyway, looking back, cringe worthy.
Yeah.
Just a cringe fest. And only about 25 to sometimes 50 was something that you still want to watch again. I tried going back and re-watching Raws a couple years ago once the network came out, and I'm like, I can do this now. I don't have to rely on John's friend who's got all the ripped DVDs from the Pirate Bay. I'm like this is going to be really great. And I'm like, oh, You're the oddities for the next 30 minutes.
There legitimately was. Scott Kendall broke out a CD book, and it had a DVD. Every single DVD was a different episode of from the Attitude Era.
I mean, imagine if he had built that thing just a year before the network came out. Just how big of a because that had to take forever.
Oh yeah, probably
for freaking ever.
Probably
to burn all of those DVDs. But anyway, it's not as good as you think it was. So if you're gonna reminisce on the Attitude Era on Peacock, stick to the like documentaries.
Yeah, you gotta kind of pick and choose.
Curated playlists. Don't just go watching all the Raws front to back, and definitely don't watch them with your kids.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. Well, those are our hot takes, and we'd love to hear more of your hot takes. If you head over to our socials at 2wordsLTN, you can tell us what you think, or maybe you can just sit there and rant and rave about how
wrong we are,
big of morons we are. Which we'll probably secede to that too, because I mean, you know, we are who we are. But we are so glad that you've tuned into our podcast. And we will be back in a couple of weeks. I don't think we have anything to announce at this point. We don't have any watch-alongs coming up.
WrestleMania is over. No more watch-alongs until SummerSlam, which will happen during our next season break. If you want to watch our full watch along for some reason, if you're just a masochist and you want to watch 8 hours of us watching something, which we found out there was at least one person who just watched us watching something and didn't watch WrestleMania while it was happening, you can go find those videos on twitch.tv/LTN on air for the next few weeks before they expire. But I think the highlight reaction we pulled for YouTube. Go to youtube.com/lovethynerd, and you can see our McMahon versus Austin 19 years later reaction, and just how awesome that moment was and how smiley and happy we were about it. So you can go find that there.
Well, that's good. So we'll be back in a couple of weeks. I don't know what we're going to talk about, but we'll find something good and fun. But until then, my name's John. His name's Matt. And if you're not down with that, we got 2 words for you.
Bye.